Hey everyone, my name is Samantha from Top Dog Tips. This is my chocolate lab, Sadie. Today I'm going to show you guys how I keep my dogs contained in the yard. Sadie is a lab in the true sense of the breed. She loves to run, she loves to play, she loves to swim, and we live on the river. We also live off-grid, which made it a real challenge to find a containment system that would keep our pets in the yard, but I didn't want to put up a big fence that would obstruct our view of the river. We also live on 100 acres of land, so it was hard to find a really good balance that would give our dogs enough space, not obstruct our view, but still keep our dogs safe. My biggest concern is A, that they're gonna run off into the woods and get lost or get hurt, and B, that they would go in the river. We live in Maine, and the river freezes in the wintertime, but because the water is always moving underneath, the ice never gets very thick. So my fear was that at some point, one of our dogs would venture out onto the ice and fall through. Sadly, that's something that has happened to a number of people that live on rivers in colder areas. So I did not want to be a victim of that, and I didn't want my dogs to be a victim of that. So I needed something that was going to allow for a big space, not obstruct our view, keep our dogs safe, but was also going to be really consistent and give our dogs the structure and the discipline of a corrective system that worked every single time. We can't take the chance of our dogs getting out on the ice even one time. So it was really difficult, and it's something that I've spent years looking for a system that would work to fulfill all of these needs, and we finally found it. So I want to share it with you guys. We've used other containment systems before. This is the SpotOn Dog GPS collar. I'll take Sadie's off so I can show it to you. It is kind of a bulky collar, but this is a GPS collar. It's exactly what the name would suggest. So there's no digging, no wires. The boundary can be up to 1,000 acres of land. You have to have at least half an acre, so keep that in mind. If you do have a smaller piece of property, this probably isn't going to work for you. But if you have over half an acre or up to 1,000 acres, this is a product you can use to create a fence for your dog to contain them that's consistent and safe. So here's what the collar looks like. Like I said, definitely a bulkier collar. This is the larger size because this is the one that's on Sadie, our 75-pound chocolate lab. There are 3 sizes available. The small fits dogs with a 10 to 14-inch neck. The medium fits dogs with a 12 to 18-inch neck. And this is the large size that fits dogs with a 17 to 26-inch neck. This is the part of the collar that does all the hard work. This is the GPS locator that taps into a network of 128 GPS satellites. This fence is so simple to set up and maintain with a smartphone app, which I'll show you in just a second. There's no hardware to install, so you can bring it anywhere. You can fence your dog in at home like we do. You can take it with you to camp. You can take it on camping trips. You can take it while visiting relatives. Anywhere you want to provide a boundary for your dog, you can take the SpotOn GPS collar. SpotOn says that the GPS technology that they use can be used anywhere you can see the sky. The smart technology also eliminates false warnings or corrections, and it doesn't correct your dog for returning back to the fenced-in area if he escapes. This is huge for me because every system we've ever used, it corrects your dog, or the collar activates to correct your dog anytime your dog is on that line. So if they're leaving the yard and they're crossing, it's going to correct them, but it's also going to correct them when they're coming back across the line trying to get home. I don't want my dogs punished for trying to come back home. I don't ever want that to be something that happens to them. So that was a really big draw, another really big draw, I should say, about the SpotOn fence for me. And again, as you can see, we live right on the river. Our house is just a few feet off the riverbank. So this is 100% waterproof. When we do want to take Sadie down to the water, we could always have that option. If we want to take her camping or, somewhere that we want her to be able to access the water, we can definitely do that. And this is 100% waterproof. We did put up some boundary flags. As you can see, those white flags, I wanted my dog to be able to have a visual of where they were going to get corrected. You can pick those up. They don't come with the collar, but you can pick them up at any pet store or order them online. I'm going to hold my microphone up close to the collar, and I'm hoping you can hear the sound that it makes. It makes the audible tone 10 feet from the boundary line so that your dog knows when that correction's coming and they have time to turn around. It doesn't just zap your dog the moment that they cross the boundary, and I love that. There are also different settings, which I'll get into in a few minutes, but you are able to set it so that it only makes the audible tone, and there are 30 different levels of static correction as well. You can see Sadie up close. The collar is not too big for her. It's just bulkier than your traditional dog collar, but it's certainly not uncomfortable or too heavy for her. It's actually really lightweight for as big as it is. I also wanted to show you the app. So this is mine on my phone. The app is completely free to download and it works on Android and Apple operating systems. So here you can see the dogs that I have. If you had more than one dog, you do have to buy a collar for each dog, obviously, but you can have multiple dogs linked to the same fence. So this is Sadie. It's telling me the battery life, that my GPS signal is good, how many satellites it's connected to. And then this is like a forest mode, and it basically just allows you to get good GPS signal even if there's a lot of tree covering, which, as I said, we live in a really rural area, so that's great for me. If you had set up multiple fences, like I said, if you took it to camp with you or you traveled frequently to the same place and you wanted to set up multiple fences, you could just go to change fence. I only have the one that's at my house, but you could click add a fence and then it gives you your options. So this is what you're gonna do when you set up a new fence. You can walk the fence or you can draw the perimeter on a map. I just walked the fence and it is incredibly accurate. So I will talk more about the accuracy in a second, but you basically just walk the boundary where you want the fence to be and you take the collar with you and it draws the map. As you can see, here is our map. This is our home and this is the area. This part here is the river. So my dogs can get close, but not too close to the river. And then they have a little bit of the woods back here. So they have plenty of space to run around, but they are still contained within that boundary. So you can see it's connected to my Bluetooth. If you have a cell phone plan that you pay for additionally, you can track your dog, which would be really great if your dog did get out of the enclosure. It's also really great if you want to see what your dog does every day. You know, we have a giant fence there. You can see over an acre of land fenced in, and I could see, what Sadie does every day. Does she mostly stay inside? Does she go outside? We have a dog door, so I could tell if she went outside during the day while we were gone or whatever. It would just be neat information. But also that tracking device would allow you to find your dog anytime if he did happen to escape. You can add a cell plan. Like I said, it is separate. You don't have to have the cell plan to make this work. So as you can see, mine's working fine right now with no cellular plan link. So you do not need the cell plan. But if you did want to get one, you can get this plan for $9.95 a month. And it is cheaper if you sign a 1 or a 2-year contract. Then we can check out our fences. Like I said, I only have mine. So it's loading the fence and it will, if you wanted to load a new fence to the collar, if you want to edit your fence or the zone that you're in. The zones are basically a fence inside of a fence. So let's say, this is our garage here and I didn't want my dogs to go around the garage. I could have a fence inside the fence to prevent them from doing that. So you can add a zone or edit your fence. You can change the name of your fence. You can remove a fence. It's all really, really user-friendly, which is what I love about the SpotOn app. And then there's the help. If you need some help, talks about dog training, some frequently asked questions, got your usual user manual. And then right here, you can chat, email, or call to contact them. So super simple. And then your profile, and it just allows you to manage your account details. You can invite family members and friends to check in on your dog and your fence. I don't have any cellular plans, but if I did, they'd be right there. And then, the different things if you want, like say push notifications on your phone. So the app is super user-friendly, very, very easy to use. I am not a tech savvy person, but certainly, very simple for me to figure out. I can deactivate it with just one click and activate it with just one click. There's also a button here for collar settings. So you can turn the tones on and off. This is where you're gonna change your static correction. So as I said, you have 30 different levels of static correction. So you can turn that on and then you can adjust the levels from 0 to 30. The vibration, if you want it to vibrate when your dog crosses the fence line. And then that forest mode, you can learn a little bit more about that. But basically, if there's a lot of dense tree cover, it still connects to GPS great. This is my profile picture of me and Sadie and you can change your colors, dog's name, information about your pet. So there's a ton of stuff that you can do, but in a really simple, compact way. All right, guys, so how accurate is this fence? That's definitely the biggest question that everybody asks me, because you wanna make sure that, you know, your fence lines aren't changing. If satellites are moving around, you wanna make sure that your dog, as I mentioned earlier, isn't getting corrected for no reason when they are used to being in a certain boundary area and then all of a sudden the boundary line changes. You know, that's gonna confuse your pet. So how accurate is this? SpotOn is accurate to 3 feet under open sky and up to 10 feet under heavy tree cover or near buildings. So as a comparison, your GPS-enabled smartphone is only accurate to about 16 feet under good sky conditions and more than 16 feet if there's heavy cloud cover or you're near a bunch of buildings. So the SpotOn collar, in layman's terms, is more accurate than the GPS on your smartphone. If you've done some research on GPS, you know that there's such a thing called GPS shift. So that's about 3 to 10 feet, depending on the shift. So what you need to do when you're planning your fence is to incorporate about 15 feet between your boundary and where you don't want your dog to go. So as you noticed when we were outside, our fence is quite a ways off the riverbank. It's not right up to the river. I give myself about 15 feet from the river just to make sure that if there is a slight shift in the GPS by a few feet, it's not enough that your dog's gonna notice it, but it's, you know, gonna be enough that if they push that boundary, they may be able to access the area that you don't want them to go. So plan a little bit of a buffer area of 15 feet. And if there is a shift, again, 3 to 10 feet. So it's not anything that your dog's gonna notice. It's gonna throw off his boundary training, but it will be enough to keep your dog safe from whatever you're trying to keep them away from. You've been watching this video for a while and I keep saying all these great things about the SpotOn collar. So I know you're probably thinking it's too good to be true. This collar, as I mentioned, you know, if you need to have a fence somewhere where you don't have access to electricity, if you have a place where you can't bury a wire, if you have somewhere where you don't want to put up a visual fence, this is a really great option. And as I told you through this review, it's got a lot of good benefits. The one drawback is that you get what you pay for. So with a really great product, it usually comes a pretty heavy price tag, and this one's no exception. So the SpotOn collar retails for $1,295. There are a few discounts, veterans discounts. They give a multi-collar discount. As I mentioned, if you have multiple dogs, you need 1 collar per dog. So definitely not the most affordable option as far as fencing in your dog and boundary training goes. But, you know, this is a collar that's gonna last for a very long time through multiple dogs. So, you know, instead of buying product after product, like we've been doing for years, trying to find something that's gonna work. If you have, you know, say a fence at home, but you travel a lot, if you go camping a lot, if you have a second home, you know, instead of buying multiple fences or multiple products to contain your dog, this is just a one-time purchase and you can bring it with you anywhere, set up multiple fences, and create a boundary to keep your dog safe no matter where you go. So if it's something you need, if this is a product that's going to meet your needs, I certainly think that you're getting what you pay for. A lot of underground fence systems cost upwards of $1,000. The ones that you plug into the wall, the radius is a lot smaller. They're not as consistent, and those sell for hundreds of dollars as well. So, you know, if you're setting up multiple fencing systems to put up a visible fence, especially a perimeter as big as ours, we would be well over $1,300 doing that. So, you know, you gotta weigh the pros and cons. If it's right for you, I certainly think it's a good value for money, but it definitely won't fit everybody's budget. If you're wondering if this fence is right for you, there's a quiz on the SpotOn website. Click the link below the video and it'll take you there. You can take that quiz and it'll let you know if this fence is gonna be a good option for you and a good option for your pet. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, guys.